Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the AGM for OCSCC number 1106. We have about 45 seconds or so before we're going to get ourselves started in our meeting here this evening. So I'm inviting everybody who are guests here this evening and our other members of the board of directors to go ahead and bring themselves back on screen. So go ahead and turn your cameras on. We're going to be getting ourselves started in about 20 seconds or so, folks. We already have our quorum for the meeting here this evening, so we'll be able to start nice and efficiently at 7 o'clock p.m. We have about 10 seconds to go, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. 3-second countdown. It's just about 7 o'clock p.m. And there we are. It is now 7 o'clock p.m. Welcome to the AGM for OCSCC number 1106. As I was suggesting earlier, we already have quorum for our meeting here this evening, and I'll tell you about those numbers in just a few short moments. To start us off, we're going to go through a couple of housekeeping issues. First, you're going to see that there is no recording being taken of this AGM here this evening. There is no audio or visual recording being prepared by the Condominium Corporation. That is because in today's day and age, with the introduction of AI into our society, audio and visual images can be easily manipulated, and they can put people at risk of having their audio or visual images out there without their knowledge or consent. Therefore, condominium corporations that we work with are no longer preparing audio or visual recordings of AGMs. Instead, we have a minute taker with us here this evening. Thank you, Minute Solutions, for participating in our meeting tonight and preparing the minutes as per the usual fashion. I am aware that there is one individual in the past who has recorded these AGMs and put them on YouTube. That individual should be advised that that is a breach of individuals' privacy rights. It's a breach of the Condominium Act 1998, and it is also potentially liable for claims because you have put individuals' audio, images on screen online without their permission. Therefore, I'm just putting everyone on notice here this evening that any audio or visual recording of this meeting here tonight is a breach of individual privacy rights, a breach of the Condominium Act 1998, and is absolutely not permitted and could be subject to future claims. All right, with that said, a couple of other housekeeping issues. You will see that we have the chat function activated here this evening. The chat is for technical questions. If you have any technical questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat here tonight. And our host and my colleague at the firm, Dominique, hi Dom, will take care of assisting with those virtual technical questions as needed. We also have the Q&A activated here tonight, and that is solely for any questions that might come up during the election process. So again, the Q&A in the chat are for technical issues. Otherwise, all of the business of the meeting is going to be transacted live so that we can make sure that we're as closely as possible simulating an in-person meeting. So again, just to confirm, neither the chat nor the Q&A will form part of the record of the corporation. So Minute Solution will not be including the chat or the Q&A in the meeting minutes because everything that is part of the meeting will be transacted live. At any point in time, if you have a question, just raise your hand in the raised hand button. Looks like this on the bottom of your screen. Just go ahead and press raise your hand and we'll take your questions at the relevant time. Now, having said that, if at any point in time you're having any difficulties with your microphone, we do want to make sure that you get your question asked. So that is a perfectly appropriate way to say to Dominique in the chat, hey, my microphone's broken. I don't have one. It's not working. I'm going to type my question in here, and can you please raise your hand for me and read it in the chat? Or you raise your hand yourself, throw it in the chat, let Dominique know your microphone is broken, and she will read it into the meeting for you should the need arise. Okay, again, because the chat is not part of the record of the meeting here this evening. Last little housekeeping issue, you'll see we have panelists on screen in front of everybody. Those are the people with the cameras on. If you would also like to have your camera on here this evening, you are more than welcome to do so. If you'd like that, just go ahead and send Dominique a request in the chat. Say, hey, camera, please. Hey, I'd like to be on camera. Camera, question mark? Anything to show that you'd like to have your camera on. Dominique will send you something called request to be promoted to panelist. That is what happens when you join as the panelist, then you can have the ability to turn your camera on. If you do decide to become a panelist and have your camera on, you don't have to keep your camera on the whole time. You can turn it on and off at your discretion. If you're a candidate for the board of directors here this evening and you're not already on screen, we will invite you at that time to go ahead and join us as a panelist, to put your camera on, so that all of the other owners here this evening will be able to see who they are speaking with in relation to the candidacy here this evening. Okay, those are our housekeeping issues. So let's go ahead and jump right into the business of the meeting. Item number 1 on your agenda were the technical matters. Item number 2 is our call to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Item number 3 are the introductions. You can see we have all of our various members of the board of directors who are on screen here this evening. And if a member is not on screen, they will be able to unmute themselves to say hello. So one by one, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce all the various individuals that you're seeing in front of you here this evening and that you'll hear from here tonight. They'll either give a quick wave hello or they'll unmute themselves and say hello. We'll start with your president, Hayden. Good evening, Hayden.
Hello, how you doing?
Fantastic. Next, we have your secretary, Valerie.
Hey. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Valerie. All right, fantastic. Next, we have Cassandra, your vice president.
Hi, everyone.
Excellent. And next, we have your director at large, Melvin. Hi, Melvin. Oh, Melvin, there you go.
Hello. I'm having trouble actually getting on screen here, so
Oh,
yes, I am here.
I'll send you a quick request, Melvin. Hopefully that'll help you out. There we go. We got you.
Okay.
Excellent. Hi, Melvin. All right, those are your 4 members. There's my 5th one right there. I was like, where's my 5th member? There she is. Sharon. Hi, Sharon, your treasurer.
Hello, good evening.
Excellent. And that is your fantastic 5 who have taken you through this past fiscal year. You're going to be hearing from some of your members of the board of directors at various points in time throughout the evening here. We also have, of course, Minute Solutions, your minute taker, who we introduced a little bit earlier. We have your auditor, Jackson. Jackson, we're going to hear from Jackson a little bit later as well. Hi, Jackson.
Hey, everyone.
Fantastic. And your boots on the ground, day-to-day operations condominium manager, Tasha. Hi, Tasha.
Hi, everybody.
Fantastic. And of course, we have Dominique, my co-host. Hi, Dom. There we go. All right, folks, those are our introductions here tonight. Item number 4 is our confirmation of quorum and notice of meeting. So in order for us to have a duly held meeting here tonight, we have to have quorum. What does quorum look like? We have to have a minimum of 25% of the owners of all units here in person or by proxy to have quorum. And for OCSCC number 1106, that number is a minimum of 67 units represented. We, in fact, had 80 proxies submitted in advance, and we currently have 61 eligible shares in attendance for a total of 141 units represented in person or by proxy. Wow, folks, we have far exceeded our quorum requirements here this evening. So thank you so much, everybody, for participating in your meeting here this evening. All right, we're going to go ahead and discuss now notices. In order for us to have a duly called meeting here tonight, we have to have 2 types of notices sent out. The first is the preliminary notice of meeting, which has to go out a minimum of 35 days in advance of tonight's meeting. The second is the notice of meeting itself, with accompanying documents such as the financial statements, the draft minutes, etc. And those go out a minimum of 15 days in advance of tonight's meeting. I can confirm I received copies of both of those meeting packages. They duly meet the requirements of the Condominium Act 1998. Therefore, since our meeting has been duly called with proper notice, we have far exceeded the quorum requirements here this evening. We can carry on with the formal business of our meeting here this evening. That brings us right along to the next item on our agenda, item number 5, which is the presentation of the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending January 31st, 2026. Jackson, I'm going to turn this over to you. And I understand, Jackson, you're going to go ahead and share the financial statements on screen with us?
If you or Tosh is able to pull those up for me, that'd be great. I'm on my personal computer here.
Okay, I have them in front of me. Just give me one quick second and I will go ahead and share my screen with everybody.
Thank you, Nancy.
One quick sec.
While she's pulling those up, I'd just like to go ahead and thank you all on behalf of Kelly Hubert's McNeely Professional Corporation for appointing us to do your audit this year. At this time, I'll also state that the books and records of your corporation were handed over in great working order by your management team as per usual, and that the audit was completed with no issues to note. So to jump into it, I'll bring your attention to the opinion section right in front of you here, and I'm going to read to you the second paragraph there. So in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the corporation as at January 31st, 2026, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the period then ended in accordance with Canadian accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. So what this means, this is a clean opinion. It's the one that you always want and the one that you've always gotten. So that's great news there. If we could jump forward one page here, I'll bring your attention to the date at the bottom of this page here. So June 4th, 2026 is the date in which your board of directors have approved these statements of. So we'll jump forward again and we'll get into the numbers here. So starting with our statement of financial position, we'll take a look at our assets. So cash has went up about 328,000 from last year. That's nice to see. Your accounts receivable is all condo fees owing at year end, and your prepaid expenses is prepaid CAO fees. For your liabilities, your accounts payable and accrued liabilities are down about 12,000 from last year. This is simply due to timing differences around year end, and your deposits on hand are prepaid condo fees. So everything here is in the normal course of business, and we did test cutoff. So we'll jump forward again and we'll take a look at the statement of changes in net assets. So looking at our 2026 column here, first line, we can see that we started the year off with a net assets balance of about 444,000. The line below that shows that during the year we added a nice net revenue of about 364,000, bringing our combined net assets at year end up to about 808,000. So it was a good year of building up our balances there, which is great to see. We'll jump forward again, and now we'll take a look at the statement of revenue and expenditures for the operating side of things. So we'll start off with our revenues. Your condo fees were collected as per budget. Your transfer of condo fees to the reserve fund was as per budgeted and per your reserve fund study. You earned some interest revenue on your operating bank account. Your miscellaneous revenue was up a bit from last year. This includes things like party room rentals, guest suite rentals, lounge and theater room rentals. And your unit owner expense recoveries are expenses that were charged back to unit owners. Now we'll take a look at our big ticket items for expenditures here, starting with the administration section. So your audit fees was clearly just your audit. The contingency was repairs done in Unit 306. Your insurance was in line with last year and paid as invoiced. Your management fees were paid per contract, and the additional management fees were due to dealing with the legal issues and Terrian management. Your office supplies were in line with expectations. You had a performance audit done this year. Your professional fees were your legal fees. Your reciprocal and joint use allocation was paid as per budgeted. Your security was very in line with expectations and paid as invoiced. Your superintendent fees were also paid as per invoiced, and same with your waste removal. For the operations side of things here, your building repair and maintenance is fairly in line with last year, actually quite below expectations, which is nice to see. Some of the big ticket items in there were new gym equipment, concierge plush subscription, and some other miscellaneous repairs. Your cleaning was your building cleaning, carpets, windows, and cleaning supplies. Also pretty in line with expectations there. Your elevator fees were paid as per contract, plus some additional repairs, plus some camera installations. Your HVAC and mechanical was paid as per contract with some additional repairs. Your communications is up a bit from last year with more lines added. And for your utilities, your hydro is up from last year with increased usage. Your gas is in line with prior year. And again, your water is up from prior year with increased usage there. And then again, if we scroll down a little bit, we can see that the net expenditures on the operating side is down there at the bottom of about 43,000. So we'll flip forward now. We'll take a look at the reserve fund side of things. Again, starting off with our revenues here. So our transfer of condo fees from the operating side was again per budget and per your reserve fund study. And we earned a bit of interest on our reserve fund bank account there. For expenditures, not much to see here. Your doors was locker room doors, and you had a reserve fund study. And we can see at the bottom there, our net revenue for the year on the reserve side of things was about $407,000. We'll flip forward again and take a quick look at our statement of cash flows. So I'll bring your attention to the second from the bottom line there. So we started the year with $625,000 in cash. The line above that shows that throughout the year we accumulated about $328,000, and the bottom line there shows how much cash we held at year end, around $953,000, which is great to see there. We'll take a quick look at the notes of the financial statement now, and I'd like to jump all the way to note number 5, the adequacy of the reserve fund. So here in that first paragraph, last line, we can see that we do have an up-to-date reserve fund study with Keller Engineering. And in that second paragraph, first line, again, we can see that we are following that reserve fund study with our contributions. For our major commitments for next fiscal year, everything here is very standard. You have a year on your management contract, a year on your elevator contract, a year on your waste management contract, a year and a bit to go with your superintendent services. You have an ongoing security contract for next year. Your HVAC contract is 2 years and a bit. And at the bottom there, we have some reserve work on our hot water tanks. And then if we flip one further page, we'll see our last commitments here. So we have some water damage repairs as well in the next fiscal year. And that is all that I have for you today. So thank you again on behalf of Kelly, Hubert, and McNeely. And if anyone has any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jackson. All right, folks, now is your opportunity. If you have any questions for Jackson with respect to the audited financial statements, just raise your hand and we are going to take those questions now. Quick reminder, Jackson is a financial historian, so he will be dealing with numbers for the year end. He won't be able to answer any questions about, hey, how are we doing this year? What's our budget looking like? So it would be questions with respect to the audited financial statements or the audit process that he can help us out with. So folks, now is your opportunity. If you do have any questions, go ahead and let us know by raising your hand and we'll take those questions now. All right, just a final call. Any questions? We do have one question. We just have a hand popped up. Fantastic. Unit 805, Igor and Sanya, go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening. You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Excellent. Just one question. We noted that the water usage is much higher this year, right? We also noticed that there's a lot. Maybe that's that's one of the factor why it increased. It's many people now are washing their cars in the parking lot garage, and you can imagine that washing a car uses a lot of water, right? So a question for the management is that permitted?
We'll
if
actually, yeah, we're going to just, Igor, we're going to just deal with that during our general discussion. This is something that the auditor won't be able to help us out with. So that's something we'll bring up during our general discussion. Okay.
All right. A following question about the supplies. Last year we asked the question about the supplies. $10,000. Last year it was much more, 24,000. This year it was close to 10,000. What are those supplies? Because last year someone asked the question and we didn't get the clear answer. What are those supplies, please? Thank you.
For sure.
Oh,
I could
sorry.
take a quick look. Oh, you can go ahead, Tasha, if you want. You might know off the top of your head what's in there.
Sure, I'll just need a couple seconds to pull it up here.
So folks, just so that you're aware, what we're doing is we're looking at this particular light item here. I'm highlighting it with my cursor right now. The budget is $10,000. The actual was $95.66, and last year the actual was $24,567. So just a question for Jackson and Tasha as to what that $95.66 represents.
So looking at a few of the items in here, so we've got the minute taker expenses for the previous AGM, some guest suite expenses. We have an Expedibox service charge, and then some more AGM fees, things of that nature.
Great. Tasha, anything else to add to that, or is that a good summary from Jackson?
That's a pretty good summary. There were a few one-off issues. Like we had done some posting through Indeed for the superintendent position. What else is in here? Printing and postage for the corporation. Invoice processing, online invoice processing, and minute taker, and Jackson pretty much covered everything else. I think with the current year's budget, we did break everything down a little bit more granular than what it was last year. So owners, based on the budget, should be able to see kind of exactly where the expenses are going with the current budget. So we're hopeful that that's helpful going forward.
Great. Thanks, Tasha. Igor, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. And yeah, we'll just park the other question and we'll bring that up again a little bit later on. Tasha, we got that one for later?
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make a comment that with respect to the amount, the dollar amount of water usage, the year prior, many of the units were unoccupied. And because that water usage also incorporates the usage from the suites, that was why it was so much lower the year prior, because many more units are actually occupied this year.
That definitely will make a big difference. But car washing we'll bring up later on, Igor. All right. Thanks so much for those questions. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Jackson while we have Jackson with us here this evening? Go ahead and raise your hand. I see no more hands being raised, Jackson, so I'm going to say thank you so much for participating in our AGM here this evening and a fantastic financial presentation.
Hey, thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a great evening. All right, folks, I'm going to also stop sharing my screen so that you won't have those numbers in front of you here. And we're going to move right along then to the next item on the agenda, being item number 6, which is the appointment of the auditor for this fiscal year. So as you would have seen in your meeting package, your board of directors continues to be pleased with the services that have been provided by the firm that Jackson was representing here this evening, Kelly Hubers McNeely. Sorry, I'm just making sure that there we go. Fantastic. So your board of directors remains pleased with the services provided by Kelly Hubers McNeely. And so your board of directors is proposing that you continue with the services provided by Kelly Hubers McNeely for another fiscal year. What we would be doing then at this time is we would be looking for a motion from the floor. We'd be looking for a mover and a seconder. And the purpose of that motion is to reappoint Kelly Hubers McNeely as your auditor for this fiscal year. Before we do that, Tasha, I'll just ask you a quick question based on your information in the industry. Do their prices remain competitive this year?
Yes.
Excellent. And my understanding is there's no anticipation of increases beyond inflation at most?
Correct.
Fantastic. All right, folks. So what I'm looking for now is, do we have a mover and a seconder to reappoint the auditing firm Kelly Hubers McNeely? If so, go ahead and raise your hand. Don't be shy. I just need a mover and a seconder. All right, we have our mover in Jamie, Unit 1404. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Just looking for our seconder. Go ahead and let me know by raising your hand. All right, we have we have seconds, thirds, and fourths. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. I'll take Annie Annie's hand went down. Well, I'll take Alan in 2406. Thank you so much, Alan, in 2406 as our seconder. So we'll go ahead and lower everybody's hands. Are there any questions on the proposed motion on the floor to reappoint Kelly Hubers McNeely as your auditor for this fiscal year? Any questions with respect to that proposed motion? Go ahead and let me know. I see no hands being raised. We're going to launch our first poll of the evening here. You're going to see that popping up in front of you right about now. The question is, please vote on the proposed motion to reappoint the auditor, Kelly Hubers McNeely, for this fiscal year. All right. Giving everybody a quick second to do so. I'm going to go ahead and start my countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ending the poll. And there we are. Dominique, thanks so much for that. So again, we've got 100% in favor. And again, it is more than 28. We do have our proxies and our shares and behind the scenes, but we have 100% in favor of confirming the reappointment of Kelly Hubers McNeely. So we'll stop sharing that and close that off the screen for us. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating in that motion. We'll leave it to you, Tasha, to go ahead and let Kelly Hubers McNeely know they've been reappointed for this fiscal year. Next on the agenda then is the approval of the draft minutes from the fiscal year 2025, which you will see was held on July 24th, 2025. They are in your meeting package and they started at page number 19 of 36. Your job, your homework was to review those minutes, because in just a moment, I'm going to be looking for a mover and a seconder to do the following thing. I'm going to be asking for a mover to dispense with reading the minutes. We don't want to have to read last year's minutes into tonight's AGM, and to put those minutes on the floor for any corrections which may be required. Once we get the minutes on the floor, I'll then ask if there's any corrections. We'll then look at those corrections as a group, and then we'll vote on approving the minutes with or without corrections. A quick reminder about corrections. Corrections have to be what actually transpired. We can't say, oh, I'm going to correct it based on what I wish we had said or I wish I had said. Corrections have to be factual, and we have to make sure history is accurate, not recreated. All right, let's go ahead and get a mover and a seconder. Once again, don't be shy. I need a mover and a seconder to dispense with the reading and to put the minutes on the floor. I've got Lena in 1009 as my mover. Thank you. And I've got Melvin as our seconder. Thank you so much, Lena and Melvin. We're going to go ahead and lower everyone's hands now, and I'm going to ask, are there any corrections that we need to worry about for these minutes as a group? If so, I'll bring those minutes on screen. We'll look at them all together, and we'll make those corrections together as a team. Any corrections to those minutes? I see no hands being raised. Dominique, do you want to go ahead and launch our next poll? So folks are going to see this popping up in front of you. And the question is, please vote on the proposed motion to dispense with the reading of the AGM minutes dated July 24th, 2025, and to approve those minutes as presented. We'll give everybody a couple more seconds to do so. Starting my countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ending that poll and sharing the results. There we go once again. Just a couple of abstentions and otherwise all in favor. I'll stop sharing that and close that off the screen for you. We can then confirm, therefore, that the minutes have been duly approved and now form part of the records of the corporation. That brings us along to item number 8 on your agenda. Item number 8 is an information document this evening because there's going to be a part 2 of this particular item. Item number 8 is the proposed amendment to your declaration. So this is on the agenda here this evening so that we can present it to you as owners, explain the purpose of it, have a brief discussion on it as may be needed, and then after tonight, the following process is going to happen. You're going to get a further package sent out with the proposed wording of the amendment and a one-page document called a consent. That one-page document would be the document that you sign and return to the corporation if you are in favor of this amendment. You may be signing it by hand in writing. You may be signing it electronically on screen. It may be an electronic process through something like a get quorum here. But that is what we will be doing for the process. Tonight we're presenting it. We'll talk about it, explain what it is. The next step is for everybody to consent to the amendment. And then once we get sufficient consents, we would then register that amendment on title. We have to get a minimum of 80% consents of the owners of all units. So it's very important that if you know owners who are not here this evening and they are wondering, what is this all about? That you either ask them to reach out to Tasha or that you give them some information that you hear tonight at the meeting. Tasha?
So I think the intention is actually to hold a separate meeting because we
Can have
didn't.
another one too? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so we didn't include this in the preliminary notice. So just so everybody's in the loop and the highest amount of owners can be kept in the loop and informed, we will be holding another meeting specific to the indemnification provision.
Fantastic. And before that meeting, you'll get a draft consent. So you can sign it leading up to that meeting as well. So stay tuned for a second package, but tonight we're going to talk about it. And when you get that package, you're going to know exactly what that consent is. And then if you're satisfied, you don't have to come to the second meeting. You can just hand that consent in, whether it's electronic or hard copy. And then again, tell your neighbors about the importance of this particular document. So what is this? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you have it in front of you, just again so that you can see what we're talking about in the meeting package here. And there it is. So this is called a proposed amendment to your declaration to introduce what's called an indemnification provision. You see the words indemnification provision. And I'm just going to read it so in case you go back and look at it again so that you can remind yourself, what is it? It is a provision that allows the corporation to recover certain costs it incurs as a result of the actions and or behavior of a particular owner or occupant. So in other words, it means the condo, which is you as a collective group of owners, right? Who's the condo? It's all of you guys together, the group. The condo can recover costs that it has to spend due to one owner's behavior or failure to do something that they should have done. Okay. This is very important for OCSCC number 1106 because you don't currently have a provision in your declaration that is strong enough to allow the condominium corporation to recover costs in all of the various circumstances that you have been faced with to date. It helps protect the vast group. It helps protect all the innocent owners from the one or two or handful of owners who don't abide by the governing documents or the condominium regulations or even the act in some cases. So here are the reasons for the proposed amendment. As many of you know, you as a condominium corporation have had to incur a significant amount of expenses as a result of legal actions commenced by one particular owner. Not just legal actions, but also complaints against various service providers. There have been complaints against legal counsel, complaints against previous property managers, complaints against the auditor, complaints against the engineer, etc. Almost all of these complaints have already been closed. There's one final one that's just outstanding, expected to be closed and found to be completely without merit. Unfortunately, however, your board of directors and your corporation have incurred legal expenses to deal with these particular things. This isn't just a challenge or an attack on your members of the board of directors. It is also basically an attack on the community and on your service providers. You, as a condominium corporation, are getting a bit of a reputation in the community for being very difficult for service providers to provide service to as a result of what's going on in your community, which is also leading to increased costs potentially by your service providers or service providers choosing not to work with you. So this type of situation is affecting the ability of your condominium corporation to function properly and normally on a daily basis. So this type of a provision is very important for the condominium corporation to be able to seek recovery through the proper mechanisms, the proper channels, whether it's the courts, whether it's the Condominium Authority Tribunal of Ontario, or whether it's using this particular provision on its own without going through the courts to seek recovery of the costs incurred as a result of these types of situations so that the innocent group of owners can be protected. Again, there's also other situations such as somebody who fails to stoop and scoop, or somebody who causes damage to the hallways or common elements, or someone who fails to do things that they should be doing. So these are the types of smoking outdoors or in an area that they're not supposed to. These are the types of things that an indemnification provision is very important for to assist your condominium corporation in keeping the innocent owners somewhat protected from overwhelming costs and eroding the equity in all of your units. Okay, so that's what this is all about. So Tasha, given that you're going to have a second meeting, probably just makes sense to introduce this tonight. Everybody, no need to take questions tonight. Just think about this. It's important for you to have this in your mind. Start thinking about it. Write down your questions in advance of the next meeting so that you can be ready for it. If you're comfortable, as soon as you get that new meeting package, you want to sign your consent and send it over to the corporation and not go to the meeting, that is perfectly acceptable as well. Your board of directors and your experts, other experts, feel that this is an important next step in your condos community to try and protect you guys moving forward. I'll stop sharing that. There we go. So that is item number 8. It moves us right along now to item number 9, which is your election of directors. We're going to be electing 2 directors here this evening, and those 2 directors are to fill the positions that have been filled by Sharon and Valerie to date. So before we move along any further, Sharon and Valerie, thank you so much for all of your time and efforts on behalf of the condominium community to date. Thank you so much. When we elect 2 new directors, folks, remember that you're electing directors for 3-year terms. We're not electing secretaries, presidents, etc. The positions, the various officer positions will be chosen by the directors at its first meeting after they are elected. So for tonight, you are electing 2 individuals to represent the interests of your corporation going forward. So let's find out who our candidates are so far. We have Valerie, who has agreed to run again. We have Sharon, who has agreed to run again. And we have one other individual. We have Robert Ty, who has put his name forward. Robert, I'm going to go ahead and send you what's called a request to be promoted to panelist. We go. All right, so what we'll be doing here this evening with all of our candidates. First, I'll be asking each of the candidates to confirm whether there are any changes to their disclosure statement. Second, I'll then be asking each of the candidates if they'd like to take a couple of moments to tell us all a little bit about themselves before we go ahead and cast our votes here this evening. I'm just going to start in the same order that I did with confirming our election candidate nominations earlier. Valerie, go ahead and start. Again, unmute yourself. First and foremost, are there any changes to your disclosure statement?
No
Okay,
changes.
terrific. Tell us all a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Valerie Toller. I'm just honored to be here this evening with all of you. For the last few years, I've been a member of our wonderful board of directors, and it's just been wonderful to work with this board of directors. They're a terrific group. For the last 25 years, I worked in a fast-paced sales office, but I'm now retired. In that position, I learned how to deal with people, how to problem solve, and how to be fair. And I have enjoyed using my voice to join my board of directors in decisions that we had to make throughout the last few years. And my husband and I actually both live in this building, and we love it. We call our condo the jewel in the sky. We care about this building very much, and I want to continue to work for you, and because I care, and I want to continue protecting our property values here and making sure that things get done in a timely way. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you give me that opportunity again. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to move over to Sharon. Sharon, go ahead and unmute yourself. Are there any changes to your disclosure statement?
No, there's not.
Okay, go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharon Tumber, and I'm pleased to put my name forward for re-election to the board of directors. Serving on the board over the past term, it's been a couple years now. It's been a rewarding experience. And I would appreciate the opportunity to continue contributing to our community. A little bit about myself. Professionally, I work as a financial management advisor with Public Health Agency of Canada, where I'm responsible for financial planning, budget oversight, forecasting, and providing strategic financial advice to senior management. This experience has strengthened my analytical skills, attention to detail, and ability to make informed and responsible decisions. Skills that I believe are directly applicable to the financial oversight and governance responsibilities of our condo board. I am committed to responsible decision-making, transparency, and also ensuring that the best interests of our residents remain our priority. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'd be grateful for your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. All right, Robert, go ahead and unmute yourself. And my first question to you, Robert, are there any changes to your disclosure statement?
No, there are not.
There's just one little change, I think, Robert. It may have just slipped your mind that you are now a party to a legal action with the corporation.
No, that I believe that's been settled for now, at least.
No, there's a Condominium Authority Tribunal application that was commenced against you.
Oh, but that was very recent. I think that was like a couple of days ago, and which
Right,
is
but
completely without merit as well.
It does need to be disclosed here this evening, so that is an ongoing litigation matter. So thank you so much for that. And now go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm running for a position on our board of directors because this condominium is being scammed by Claridge Homes and scammed by the
Robert, I'm
current
going
board
to
of
remind
directors.
you once again, this is not a platform to make unfounded allegations. Please stick only to your qualifications as a member of the board of directors and not make any allegations whatsoever against others. As you will have heard, Hayden and Valerie and Sharon spoke about their qualifications. That's what you need to address this evening. If you continue to make unfounded allegations, I will mute you.
I am running for a position on your board of directors because this condominium is being scammed by Claridge Homes
Robert,
and
I am
scammed
going
by
to
the
mute
current
you
board of
if you
directors.
continue down this vein. You have already been told this is not appropriate. I will allow you to unmute yourself and speak about your qualifications as a member of the board of directors. Go ahead.
I am running for a position on your board of directors because this condominium is being scammed by Claridge Homes
No,
and
I'm sorry,
scammed by the
Robert.
current
We
board
are
of
not going
directors.
to allow that. Folks, I do apologize. I cannot permit Robert to continue to make unfounded allegations. We know that these have already been tried in court, some of these allegations, and they have been found to be without merit. And so we're not going to permit verbal allegations against others this evening. Robert, this is your final opportunity to please advise the owners of your qualifications to sit as a member of the board of directors.
I'm running for a position on your board of directors because this condominium is being scammed by Claridge Homes and scammed by the current.
Thank you, Robert. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to permit you to continue with that speech. So folks, it is now your opportunity to go ahead, and we're going to cast our votes here this evening for a member of your board of directors. We're going to show you how to do that. It's the exact same process as we did last year. We're going to go ahead and share our screen in just one quick moment. You're going to see that popping up in front of you. We're going to go ahead and we're going to launch the active voting in just a quick second. Where will you find the active voting? It'll either be on the bottom right-hand side of your screen here, or you might see it on the top right-hand side of your screen where we have a little envelope that looks just like this. So Dominique, I'm going to go ahead and get you to launch the vote. And you should start seeing that pop up in front of you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because for some people it might not pop up until I stop sharing my screen. For members of the board of directors or panelists, so that would include all of our members of the board of directors and as well Robert, you will receive a link in the chat. The link in the chat will be directed to you individually, and it is a private link for you to vote. If you have already voted by proxy, you do not need to cast a vote. And in fact, it won't let you cast a vote because you will have already voted by way of proxy. So the voting is now live. Dominique, it's now live? The voting is now live, folks. So go ahead and start casting your votes. You'll have the opportunity to choose a maximum of 2 individuals for the board of directors. A quick note, if you're having any difficulty whatsoever casting your vote, what I need you to do is to send us something in the Q&A. So I see Unit 2504, I see your message in the chat. Thank you for reaching out to us. If you can send me something in the Q&A, we're going to send you a private link. Same thing with Unit 410. Unit 410, you can also, if you're on your phone, folks, you can also go to the email that you used to come into this meeting. If you go to the email that you used to come into this meeting, it'll also have a direct link to take you right to your voting portal where you'll be able to vote. So your 3 options are send us a message in the Q&A, and we will send you a direct link in the Q&A, or you can go ahead and send us a message in the chat and we'll direct you how to do this in your Q&A. Dominique, just remember to put it in the Q&A and not the chat because it's a private link. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. Excellent. And so we'll go ahead and the Q&A. You have to send us a message in the Q&A, owners, because we can't put it in the chat because it's not a private link. So we're going to go ahead and all right, there we go. So send us a Q&A message. And 1507, it's coming. Dominique is on that one right now. So, and then 2504. Very good, 1507, you were able to get your vote cast. So folks, if you're having any trouble whatsoever, your 2 options are you need to send us a link, or sorry, a question in the Q&A, and we will send you a link. Or you can go to the email that you used to get into this meeting, and you will be able to find a direct link to that email. All right, thank you so much. Unit 2504, thank you so much for confirming that you were able to submit your vote using the email link. Excellent. Fantastic. All right, folks, we're seeing a lot of votes coming in here, which is just fantastic. It looks like everyone's getting their opportunity to vote here this evening. We'll give everybody just a couple more seconds to cast their votes. A couple more seconds to cast their votes. Anybody else who's having any trouble whatsoever casting their votes, please let us know. If you're having any trouble casting your votes, please let us know. I see no hands being raised. It looks like all of the votes have been cast.
Sorry, Nancy, just 1 second. I just
Oh.
have one unit having an
Okay,
issue. Just 1
fantastic.
second.
Yeah, so folks, just sit tight. We're going to go ahead and give a couple more seconds, well, a couple more minutes here to make sure everybody has an opportunity to get their votes cast. Unit 410, it looks like you've got your hand up there. Are you dialoguing with Unit 410, Dom? Yeah, terrific. Okay, thank you, 410, for putting your hand up and making sure we got you taken care of. So Dominique will let us know when we get this taken care of. And just a quick reminder, if you voted by proxy, that would be one of the reasons why you may not be able to vote here this evening. It is possible. All right. And 410, it looks like we got your vote in. We got it in, eh, Dom? I see a vote cast.
That they voted, yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Oh, 1009. 1009, we're going to go ahead and let you unmute yourself. Did you have any concerns about the voting still, Unit 1009? Lena?
Yes, I do. I was away for a minute. I did not catch everything.
Okay, we have a live vote going on right now for the election 1009. So if you want to go ahead on the top right-hand side of the screen or on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little envelope that's asking you to cast your ballot. So if you can, all right, go ahead and cast your vote.
I cannot see it.
All right.
It's not opening.
Just 1 second here, Unit 1009. I'm just going to go ahead and check on something for you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and Dominique, the vote is still live?
Yes, it is.
Okay, terrific. So 1009, can you go into the Q&A, open up your Q&A and just send us a very quick message saying vote, please. And we're going to send you a link to your vote, okay? So open up the Q&A, 1009.
One sec.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just my question.
You see the Q&A on the bottom?
Yeah, I have it, but
okay, terrific. Just send a quick note. Just even if it just says a question mark or 2 letters, just send that, and we're going to respond with a direct link for your vote for you. Okay?
Okay, link.
And folks, if there's okay, we got it. We got it 1009. We're going to do that right now for you. Okay? Terrific. Thank you. All right, folks. If there's anybody else who did not have an opportunity to vote, go ahead and let us know. Unit 410. Unit 410. I'm just going to go ahead. Your vote was submitted this evening. So Unit 410, you've submitted your vote at 7:47 this evening. Unit 410, Ashley submitted the vote. All right, I'm just going to dialogue with Unit 410. So folks, again, just give us a quick moment. All right, 1009, we're just going to check on that for you. Have you had a chance to submit your vote, 1009?
Yes, I did, yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and check. Yep, we've got that received. Fantastic. All right, Unit 410, let us know if you'd like us to delete your vote and give you an opportunity to resubmit. Okay, Unit 410, we will delete your vote for you and you'll have an opportunity to resubmit your vote. We will send you a fresh link in just 1 quick second. Okay, Dominique, if you can just send Unit 410 a fresh link. Their vote has been reset for them. Fantastic. All right, 410, you should see, Dominique, I'll let you use the very first one there to resend the link. Excellent. So 410 will give you a couple seconds. And folks, we're just about there. We just want to make sure everybody gets their opportunity to vote here. All right, so 410, you should have a link in there to go ahead and cast your vote. Just one quick second, folks. And then once we finish the election portion, we're going to be moving on to the general discussion portion of your evening. And that'll be your opportunity to ask any questions with respect to the general affairs of the corporation that we have not already answered here this evening by the financial reporting or any other discussion that we have had here this evening. So we're just going to go ahead and check and make sure that the votes have been cast. So Kate 410, I see the vote has been cast. Dominique, are you dialoguing with any other owners about the vote?
Nope.
All right, fantastic, folks. This is your last opportunity. If you have not yet had an opportunity to vote, go ahead and raise your hand. Last chance. If you haven't had an opportunity to vote, raise your hand. All right, we're going to ask at quorum to do a final refresh on the back end of their system here and give us the results of the election. The results of the election are in, and we have our two successful candidates are Valerie and Sharon. So Valerie and Sharon, congratulations on your successful re-election to the Board of Directors. Robert, thank you so much for putting your name forward for the election here this evening. And to all owners, thank you so much for voting here this evening and participating in the election. That moves us along to our last formal item on the agenda, which is our general discussion. So as I was just saying, now is your opportunity. If you have any questions with respect to the affairs of the corporation, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor now for you to raise your hands, and we'll take those questions now. Go ahead, folks, if you have any questions with respect to the affairs of the corporation that we haven't already answered, your board of directors welcomes them at this time. Tasha, did you want to go and tell everybody about the pool?
Sure. I was going to answer 805's question about the vehicles in the parking garage, but
we can start with that, and then you can tell them the good news about the pool. I think a notice already went out, but for those who didn't read their notice.
Sounds good. So I did check the declaration and the rules and regulations. There isn't anything specifically in the rules that prohibits the washing of vehicles in the parking garage, but the declaration does state that each parking unit shall be used and occupied only for motor vehicle parking purposes. So this would prevent people from washing their vehicles in the garage. I haven't been made aware of any instances where residents are washing their vehicles. So if anybody notices that this is happening, please do send me an email. And if you can provide a parking spot number, that would be great.
Terrific. Thank you so much for that question, Tasha. And of course, if there's any follow-up to that, don't hesitate to let us know for our unit owner who asked that question about the parking garage and the cars. And then Tasha, our pool's open on Monday?
Pool should be open on Monday. So we do thank everybody for their patience the last several months while the pool's been closed. There were several outstanding warranty issues that we were investigating through Claridge's consultant as well as the corporation's consultant. So majority of these issues have been resolved. The pool's been filled, balanced, and the emergency phone is in operation. We are just waiting for the inspector from the city of Ottawa to inspect on Monday. And provided that everything goes well, the pool will be open later in the day, Monday.
Fantastic. So the hot weather can now begin. All right. So folks, anybody else with any other questions with respect to the affairs of the corporation? Okay, we have got Unit 805. Igor, go ahead and unmute yourself. And folks, a quick reminder that we don't take questions using the Q&A function, so please make sure to raise your hand. So Igor, it's over to you. 805.
Yes, hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. I would just like to take a moment to comment about the service provided by the new management. So praise to the work of the management. We see a huge improvement when compared to the last year. So they're very diligent and very well organized. Maybe the only thing that could be improved about the pool, just keep us posted, please, next time, because it's been 4 months, and just from time to time an email to say where is it at and how it's advancing, right? So that's about it. But yeah, praise to your work, Natasha and the rest of the team. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Igor. It's so nice to have positive comments like that to our hard-working managers. They work very hard, and praise is often few and far between. All right, our next hand is over to Lena in 1009. Lena, go ahead. I don't think it's Lena I'm speaking to.
I'd like to thank you for your service. It's great improvement from the previous company. You've done a great job. I have two issues. Number one, why security they don't have dedicated phone that we can call the front desk? And the second thing is, I did send to Tasha a suggestion to have a scrubber, walk behind scrubber. One of the cleaners can clean the garage, because if you look at the garage, you'll find in many areas there is still really dirty and it's not really perfect. So we don't have to call. We don't need a pressure washer to be able to clean the garage. You need just one of those scrubbers, walk behind, and they can do this, and they can maybe spread the work over maybe a week or 2 or 3 weeks. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So the scrubber, I did receive the link that you sent me, and I think I sent you back a comment that particular scrubber, it seems to only be available to commercial vendors. So I wasn't even able to obtain pricing. But this is something I'll raise with the board of directors at the next board meeting in case it is something they want to look into and purchase. With respect to a dedicated phone line for security, they do have a mobile device. I don't know the background information as to why this number hasn't been made public to the owners. So it's something I can speak to the board about at the next meeting as well. And we can discuss from there.
Thanks for your questions, 1009.
Thank you. How soon we'll get this number? Why is not being distributed?
I don't have the background information on why this hasn't been distributed in the past. So I'll have to speak to the board, and I'll speak to real-time security services to see if there is a rationale behind why the number is not made public. And if not, then we can distribute it to everybody.
Thank you, Tasha. Okay, I agree.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your question. All right, our next question is over to 705. So 705, I saw your hand pop up and then it went down. You might be having a bit of difficulty with your microphone, so I'm going to read your question for you. The question from unit 705 is, how much do we generate from renting rooms? Would it ever make sense to make it free? So I'm not sure who's best served to answer that question. I'm not sure, Tasha, if you want to start with the how much do we make from renting rooms? And then if any board members have any comments on whether or not to make it free, or you, Tasha.
Sure. So I can look up the revenue specifically for the guest suite from last year. So for those that don't know, the guest suite's available on the second floor and it's rented at a nightly rate of $125. I just need to go to last year. Rental income guest suite. So the income from the guest suite last year was, according to, I'm not sure if the audited adjustments have been applied yet, but $14,922 and change.
And do you have the video rooms with that as well, Tasha?
Sure. So the party, it looks like previously Sentinel was lumping everything together. So the lounge booking fees were lumped in with the lounge fees.
Okay.
So it was the give or take 15,000 for
great.
both amenities.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I don't think any consideration's been given to making it free. Again, I don't know if this is something that other owners would like to see, but this guest suite also acts as revenue for the corporation, which does help with your operating budget.
And it also helps with the ongoing maintenance costs because sometimes there is damage to the guest suites. They obviously have to be refurbished a bit more often than other amenities, etc. So, yeah. Thanks for your questions, Unit 705. Our next hand is over to Unit 1710. Young May, 1710, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Hi, Young May. Oh, we're not hearing you yet. You might need to choose a different microphone on the bottom left-hand side of your screen where there's the little half triangle. Click on that half triangle and see if maybe you can choose a different microphone down there. We're hearing a little bit of background flutter, but we're not hearing your voice yet. What I'm going to suggest, if you want to type your question in the chat or the Q&A, we'll keep your hand up and I can read it into the meeting for you. All right, we'll go ahead and do that for you. Oh, you put your hand down, but if you did still have a question, just put your hand back up, type it into the chat, and there you go. Keep your hand up, Young May, and read it into the chat or the Q&A, and we'll read it in for you. In the meantime, we'll take our next question, 1110. 1110, we've got Madison. Go ahead, Madison.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Hello.
This question is for Tasha, because I reported this issue to Tasha back in May. And the reason I asked here is because she mentioned that there were other units that also seeing the same issue. It's regarding, Tasha, is regarding, I don't know if you remember, regarding the severe stains, marks on the ceilings of my washroom. And it's there yellow and there's a bunch of them, and then the pot light in the air didn't work either. And I reported to you earlier, and then you said that you did go to the unit above my unit and check, and there's no leakage or anything in their washroom that's causing it. And then you also mentioned there were other units reporting the same similar situations, and you already taken that to the corporation's engineering group to investigate. So I'm just wondering, where does that stand? Do you have any results on that?
I don't. I did have a meeting with the engineers about it, but I can follow up with them and then I'll follow up with you by email.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks so much, Madison. All right, so Young May, hopefully you're able to type your question in the chat for us. Oh, Q&A, I think I see it there. Fantastic. So this is from Unit 1710. Is there a phone number we can call if any emergency comes up after hours? Tasha, that's a great question for you.
Yes, there is. So CMG has an emergency line that's monitored 24 hours a day. This number is posted throughout the building. It's posted on the Moon website. It's by the elevator lobbies on each floor. If anyone ever has issues getting through to that line, there is 24-hour security at the front concierge desk. But that number would be the proper number to call.
Thank you so much, Tasha. All right, folks, that is our last hand standing right now. Are there any further questions with respect to the affairs of the corporation that we can take at this moment in time for our board of directors or our management team? Final call for questions. I see no further hands being raised. I want to say thank you to everybody for participating here this evening. Might have been a record turnout of attendees. It was just fantastic. Tasha, anything you wanted to say before we ask for a motion to close our meeting?
No, just that. Thank you everybody for attending. It was a great meeting.
Fantastic. Any board members, anything to say before I close us out? No? All right, folks, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder to close out our meeting here this evening. A mover and a seconder. Oh, wait, the fastest hands in the West. We got Jamie 1404, Annie 606. Dominique, go ahead and launch our last poll of the evening. There we are, folks. Please vote on the proposed motion to close out your meeting here this evening. Give everybody a few seconds to do so. Starting our countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ending that poll, sharing the results. There we are, folks. Just a couple of abstention. Otherwise, everyone is in favor. Thank you so much for participating tonight. Be safe, be well. We will see everybody next time. Joe, go and enjoy the last few days of rays of sunshine. Take care now. Bye now.